No, it's not a joke. I really, I find meaning within Grinch's Ultimatum. I don't think meaning was intended, but that's not the point of art, now is it? I simply got something out of this. Ricky, I have a small feeling this will go outside of our circle. So I'll explain. My friend Ricky, co-star of the channel, we were putting together a playlist of quote unquote important videos, and he recommended this, Grinch's Ultimatum by PilotRedSun. Who, first off, what am I doing? Okay, come on, let's be so fucking for real here. The first time I watched it, it got to a certain part, and I was surprised at how much I felt something. Not life changing per se, but you know, maybe a bit of a goosebumps moment. I can see why you would think this is a joke, but let's get into it. Grinch's Ultimatum is an hour and 51 minute long animated video by PilotRedSun that I think carries themes. This is my read on it. You're absolutely free to disagree. You're even free to say I'm stupid for thinking all of this, and this whole video is just there for a joke. It's there to be funny. And I do agree halfway. Absolutely, the point of the video is comedy, but I do think it has a commentary on consumerism and the holiday spirit. And we're going to get into that right now. So the video starts with our main protagonist, unnamed, right, working with a remote control and TV, right? Now, it's a snowy winter's night, or day, it's unclear, but he's living in a bit of a rickety house. Things aren't working so good. He's obviously getting quite frustrated, right? Because this... I think it's important that he's working with the TV here, right? So this was made 8 years ago. A very prevalent time in internet, but a lot closer to when people would use TVs to watch TV, right? Not so much streaming, but cable television, direct TV, stuff like that, right? And it's not functioning for him because of the winter storm, I have to imagine. The wind is blowing the antenna on top of his house, right? It's shaking around. I didn't. Come on. There you go, right? It's blowing around. Absolutely saturated. There's squirrels and stuff outside. I actually never noticed that. But he's fiddling with this TV, and it's obviously making him visibly frustrated because it's not working, right? He's fiddling with the knobs. He's got the ultra high frequency box, the Hitachi TV. This guy is working with what should be the best in its industry, right? The best in its class, and it's still causing him so much frustration. And at the end of the day, like, he's going through all this to fix a TV, which more often than not is just delivering him consumerism, delivering him commercials and reason to buy more things, right? I do think it's important that it's a TV. So we're going to continue on here. He gets so frustrated that he eventually destroys it. Now, this is presumably his own property, right? He probably lives alone. We don't see any other characters in this who lived in this house, right? So he took it upon himself in a moment of rage and frustration. He destroyed the said TV, right? And what comes of that? But Santa himself comes and has a word with him. Santa Claus, over a broken TV, comes in and gives him an ultimatum. Now, I think a very big detail about Santa in this short, I say short as if it's like a YouTube short. That's not the case. It's just a literal, like, animated short. Santa comes in and he is strange. He moves differently than everyone else in this video. He is unnatural, he is strange, and he changes. He constantly changes. I think that can be interpreted as Santa Claus being a representation of Christmas, of consumerism, very Charlie Brown coded, by the way. He changes with the times to get the most sales, right? To have the most industry happening. For instance, he comes in and he can't even keep just one of himself here. He's walking and he's having the funny little like, and it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious, right? I never deny that. I'm using a comma to, but he walks forward and he can't even keep that one motion stable. Like one of the most innate human processes and activities Santa Claus cannot do without being strange about it. And then comes in, now we have this 3D GIF, this art moving around with this incredible background that is off-putting to most, I'd say, and celebratory. It's Claus! It's Claus! Right? It comes off as an advertisement in a way, right? As an internet advertisement. That's one thing, that's one element of this video I don't have as much of a grasp on is there's definitely a nostalgic element to it, right? It uses a lot of the language of early internet, and that is an era that is gone. There are certain forms of nostalgia that are inherently sad because you can never have them again. Like, if you're nostalgic for old movies, you can watch them again, right? But browsing old web forums, like coming across these GIFs in like their natural habitat, that doesn't happen anymore, right? Everything is so much more streamlined and depersonalized and industrialized, right? That, I don't know, it brings about a nostalgia that you'll never have again, right? I think it has a term, just, you know, Y2K era internet stuff. So Santa Claus comes down the chimney, again, moves in a different way, right? He's moving as if he's an edited picture, not pictures moving one after another, right? As in normal animation. No, that's now the third different way within 10 seconds that Santa Claus is being a different type of creature. It's almost mixed media, but you don't very often see mixed media on one character, right? He's an unstable creature, such as the same with consumerism and capitalism, right? So he comes in, our main protagonist takes notice, simply asks him what, already pissed, right? He's pissed, and now a man has intruded into his house. He's very aware that it's Santa Claus, but he's so done with all of this consumerism. He's so frustrated that he's not excited at seeing Santa. And I think Santa takes notice of this, you know? He seems a little pissed off too. Whether he's pissed on the indignity that he's being treated with, right? Just a simple what to what might as well be royalty, right? Or he's pissed at the destruction of the television that delivers him commercials to buy more Christmas gifts and celebrate the holiday season. But he then gives him the titular ultimatum. We're gonna let that play out here. He does have a glint in his eye. That does interest me. I think he has the glint because he has an inherent excitement about doing this ultimatum, right? He's very interested in seeing what the choice will be, and he's also happy to have this power over our protagonist, who still goes unnamed, you know. So we're gonna, God, this video has no description. What a fucking Chad move. So we're gonna let the ultimatum play out.
All right, buddy, you got two options here. You can be a saint, or you can be a Grinch. Those are your two choices. Choose wisely. So what's it gonna be, huh? A saint? Or a Grinch?
Now, I think there's a lot to pull from here, right? So one, the fact that he's giving him an ultimatum at all, right? He's only giving him two choices to go forward with his life. And I think that has to do with elements of public perception that we're going to get into in a bit. But I also think using the terminology of saint and Grinch rather than saint and sinner is possibly a bit of a commentary on how what used to be religious aspects for culture, for people, again, got consumed by consumerism, by industry, by capitalism, where it's not even a sin. You're not a sinner. That's not the worst thing you can be. The worst thing you can be is a Grinch. Someone who doesn't celebrate these holidays the way people want you to. Someone who doesn't buy gifts just because it's the world telling them to do so, right? You cannot be a sinner in this world. Sinners are celebrated. Saints give, aka buy, and Grinches don't participate in industry. And those are the two choices you have in this world now. You know, things used to be different, but to someone who sees past that veil, they're just by default a Grinch. That's just what they are. And again, Santa moves in a strange, abrupt way, constantly flashing back and forth, right? I'll also say the funny way of spelling Saint in Grinch or Grunch. I'm not that crazy to try and derive meaning from those. I think that's just there to be funny, which it is, right? Maybe the echoing effect is a bit to add some drama, some dynamicism, like it's really bouncing around our character's head whether he wants to admit it or not. But it's just funny. Let's be so real. But yeah, he's really like pushing forward, like getting in his face these options, and he's going back and forth, maybe purposefully trying to confuse him. But it's I think it's just another way to depict Santa and this holiday as off-putting, right? So Santa disappears, very funny again. I think that's so interesting. No hesitation, not at all. Just the second the ultimatum is done being pressed upon him, immediate, he turns into a Grinch. No hesitation at all. I think one of the comments under this video mentions that, just loves the fact that he doesn't even think about it, he doesn't deliberate, boom, immediately, I am a Grinch. Please notice the Cat in the Hat cameo back here. I'm a fool. I'm literally not remembering what Dr. Seuss, right? You know, sometimes you just don't remember names. It's just like that. But yeah, Dr. Seuss wrote both Cat in the Hat and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I think that's just a cameo. I don't think that's really trying to commentate on anything. But our protagonist, who I now will refer to as Grinch, has elected to become a Grinch over a saint. And we're going to see what he does with that now, right? He immediately goes to his journal. He writes, "Have I truly become a monster?" Now, this moment right here is what primed me to be blown away, right? Goosebumps on my arms, right? First time I showed it. It made me truly wish I had watched it while I was high. And that's the question, right? If you, in this world where your only two choices are to be a saint, a person who blindly accepts consumerism around them and just buys and buys and gives and gives, which isn't all bad, right? Gifting gifts is a nice thing, but in this world we live in, like, to associate gift giving and saint-like behavior with the holiday season, you know, that in itself is rather limiting, right? Like, yeah, you can extend that to the rest of your life, but that's strictly your choice. It's not the world motivating you to do that. There's so many elements here. There's so many things about Christmas and about the holiday season that aren't necessarily good things, right? We can get good things out of them, but the second you start to point those things out, which again, I'm not trying to be a Grinch type in this video. I just want to explain like what I get from this video, right? To everyone, to this entire world, if you don't celebrate the holidays like you're wanted to, if you want to point out flaws in the system, you're seen as a Grinch. You are a Grinch, really. You become a Grinch. Whether that's a good or bad thing, whatever, everything around you starts to see you as a monster, as other, right? And you have to look at yourself. And that's exactly what this moment is here, is wondering, am I a monster? Have I become a monster for not blindly following the path laid before me, right? And this next part, this is the reason the video is made. This is the reason it goes in the important playlist. I have to let it speak for itself. He goes to the park, right? So the second he started dancing, I knew I was in love with a new video. Something about that, obviously it didn't hit me so very incredibly hard, but it hit me enough to really just make me think, to make me feel this wasn't made. This is art. This was artistically made. This had a vision. This is there for a purpose and a reason. And I love it. I absolutely love it. What I get out of this is, you know what really inspired this video? I think right here under this video where it's just the song made for the video, there's a comment that says, this song feels like making the wrong choice and living with it. And that hit me. That's good shit. Whoever wrote that, once we're done looking at this video, I'll see if I can find that comment and give them a nice big old credit. But it's that sounds exactly right. First off, the song made for this, absolutely brilliant. I would have assumed that they just got that PilotRedSun got the song from an old PC game, but no, it would appear it was made for the video, either by PilotRedSun or maybe it was commissioned. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but it's a gorgeous piece of music that really elicits emotion, at least out of me. And so our Grinch goes to the park, sets down a stereo, slicks his hair back, already refusing to have only a Grinch-like appearance, right? He's wearing clothes. He's wearing clothes that make him feel good, that make him feel cool. He's already changing his appearance. He's not going to accept this notion that people have put on him that he has to be this way just because he's a Grinch. No, he goes outside into the real world, around real people, and he starts dancing. And it's something so real. Consumerism, capitalism, it's all so not real. It's all so superficial and fake and forced. And here he is in the park showing people something real for the first time in I don't know how long. And they are forced. They can't help but notice. They don't have to like it, but they have to see. They have to be shown. They even take a triple take. Look at him. He is a Grinch, but it won't define him. It will not define him. And I think that's beautiful. You know, maybe he is a bit of a flawed character. Maybe he didn't have to be a Grinch. Maybe he could have found a compromise, a way to be a saint in an even more altruistic way than consumerism wants him to be. But he made what he might even admit to be the wrong choice. But God damn it, he's going to live with it and he's going to make the best out of it. And I think that is a beautiful statement. I think him expressing himself through art, and this video itself being such an expression through art, really, I like to think that even though what we're about to see, even if the world doesn't see him as a fulfilled person, I think he is. I think the Grinch is a fulfilled person, and he's perfectly content and happy to be who he is, even if it is a Grinch. But as we see here, at the ending, so we have all this pop art. We have all this pop-up art, right? We call him the Christmas cretin, which is just a straight up insult, right? Again, nostalgic for the old days of the internet. All of this stuff. Again, this makes me think this is from the point of view of Santa, because it's so strange and everything is different and incorrect. And it's just, it doesn't matter. He did what he needed to do. He showed us, if you allow yourself to hear his message, to see his dance and really understand him, then this final message, you know he's not a cretin. The world will paint him as the Christmas cretin, but you can know better. You can know that just because he's a Grinch doesn't make him a monster. Also, hey. Huh? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? All right? You understand? All right? There's bad things at work here behind the scenes. You know, you miss it. You miss it if you're not looking out. But that's all I'm saying, right? I don't think this was the tale of the Christmas cretin. That's why I think the video isn't named The Tale of the Christmas Cretin. I think it's named Grinch's Ultimatum, because I don't think the ultimatum presented here is the actual titular ultimatum. That was a lie earlier. I think this is the ultimatum. He's already a Grinch. That was never going to stop. Maybe he never even had the choice. This is his ultimatum. Will he be a monster? Or will he keep on to that strain of humanity within him? And he chooses the right thing. You know, just because you make one wrong choice doesn't mean you have to keep making the wrong choice. And that's awesome. He stayed true to himself, and he showed the world, whether they liked it or not, you can be real. Your gift to the world can be a vision of what it could be. And that's my read on Grinch's Ultimatum. We're going to see if we can find that comment I mentioned. Right here, right here. The song for knowing you picked the wrong choice and living with it, by Jed Trishani 7029. With the Joel Haver Scooby PFP, actually. What a crossover. Yeah, Jed, I think you really inspired, and of course PilotRedSun, you both really inspired something beautiful out of me. You made me read into something that maybe a lot of people haven't read into. Then again, it has 4.6 million views. You know, maybe I'm not the first person to think all this. I hope not. But yeah, that's my read on it. Here, we're gonna end on his beautiful face. We're just yeah. That's the tale of the Grinch's Ultimatum.